you see me?
Yep, we can see you. We are live at Cugino's for the season finale of Flock University, hosted by the general manager, the head coach, the reigning coach of the year for Arena Football 1, Damon Ware.
Awesome.
And the runner-up for executive of the year, Jeff Levesque. I ain't bitter, though. I am.
You got you one, though.
I do have one. I have one. Listen, let's actually start there, because this is so the timeline of how everything went over the week is the awards dinner was on Friday night, and we have watched patiently, waiting for Damon Ware to be recognized for all he's done for Arena Football, especially here in the Capital Region, and our patience had worn just about thin. And then they got it right. Coach of the year, Damon Ware. Once it was up on the big screen, and that big goof guys got to go, Damon Ware, and we all were excited for him. I love that just as soon as we start, the shade that Lou put up for me comes flying. Yeah, just rip it down if you don't mind. Thank you, Steve. It's well earned. It took too long for them to realize who you are and what you do. So congratulations, Coach. You definitely deserved it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was surreal. Like I said, I've never done this for the awards, but when I finally did see it come up, it was a good feeling. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was had family sitting right there, so it was a great moment to get the ball and shake Jeff Fisher's hand, and it didn't really hit me until later. And like I said, family took a picture of me just looking at the ball, and I was going to kiss it, and they caught it on camera. So I thought that was pretty cool just to kind of take in the moment. But I think at least this year there was no other reason you couldn't give it to me this year. So I was.
They've always found one in the past.
I hate to say it, but I honestly believe I should have won 4 out of the last 5. But it is what it is. What's most important is winning the championship, and that was a great segue from Friday into Saturday morning. The turnaround was so quick. It really didn't give me a chance a lot to think about anything other than the game. And so it was Friday night. We got out of there late. I got to the arena at 7:00 in the morning. So there was very little time to even think about all those things. I think it still hasn't all hit me. I've just been so exhausted getting done with the season. But I'm sure over the next few days it'll really hit me. There's a couple times I just kind of think like, wow, we went undefeated, won the coach of the year, and won the championship, and at home. It's a lot, you know what I mean? But super happy. Turned out the way that I thought it would. Had a vision going into the season, and it's fun to say that vision was the right vision, and it came to fruition, and we were ultimately able to win it. So. Good times.
Absolutely. We can officially start. Nani has said hello, guys. So now we've got our third member of the panel up and running in the comments. So I do want to go back one more second to that, because we can do more on the awards later. I know you want to talk about the game, obviously, but that moment you're talking about, I look over. So we're at the table, and Coach, 3 feet from me. And it's a moment where it's the 3 of you. It's you, your wife, and I can even see your son. You're all looking at the ball, and they're looking at you. And I'm just like, I almost took a picture because it was such like a magical moment, but it felt really creepy even looking, because it was such like a warm family moment. It was like, Dad got what he deserved. Damon got what he's, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so special. And I'm like, oh, that's not TV. I felt weird, so I didn't take a picture. I probably should have just sent it to you, but
probably should have. It would have. But yeah, like I said, it was just like I said. I don't do it for the awards. I do it for the wins. But it was surreal. Like I said, I saw when that thing came up. It was because in my head I was like, oh, they're gonna find a reason not to give it to me. They'll give it to the second best, and it's been like that for a couple of years, and I get it. People are tired of hearing that we're the standard, and we do come off in a certain way. We're very confident in what we do, not to the point of being cocky, but we work hard. And I never understood these awards are supposed to be, of value. I don't think that anybody over the last 5 years has gave more value to their team, but it is what it is. Like I said, as long as, 3 of those years ended up in championships and semifinals and a finals loss. That's a pretty darn good 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So as I say, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. I think at the end of the day, we can look at the numbers and say, hey, it's been a special 5 years.
I couldn't agree more. And listen, yeah, absolutely. Give it up for the coach, man. He's a great guy. And let's talk about the numbers that really don't lie. 60-57, the Firebirds complete their perfect season. Coach Ware and the guys get it done, 12-0 on the year, but that was a little close. That was a close game. I didn't like it. Everybody's like, I swear to God, the next person comes to me before a game and goes, I just want a close game. I'm going to throw punch it. Because it's happened to me a couple times this year, and both times we've had a close game. Great job. There was a bit of a chess match at one point, and obviously, you were able to get it done.
Yeah, it was a really good game. And, like I said, do you want easy games? Do you want everybody has their own opinion? For me, it's about the league. We finally are starting to figure out the business model that we want to have going forward. There's a lot of really good people that are working really hard at this league. And to have that culminate in the final game of 2025, I think that can only strengthen everything that we've built, all the hard work, all the ups and downs of the year. That culminates in a pretty fun moment. But, hats off to Nashville. As I've said, they've got a great football coach. Coach Arbet is a class act. I love to converse with him and just have a great relationship with him. And like I said, sometimes it's hard to face. There's so much respect back and forth that it's hard to sometimes get mad at each other. And sometimes you need that little edge and look across the this guy over here, but we have a really good relationship. And it was just kind of funny because somebody cut it on camera as we had a little dusting up and at the end of the game, and there's him and I with our arms around each other, and we look over and we're like, look, kind of as doing, and we continue to talk. And that was kind of the epitome of just how him and I feel for each other. There's a great affinity of respect and admiration. And so there we were. Things are going on around us, and we're just like we're the only two people in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like I said, I love that, and that's what sportsmanship's all about. Obviously you can be real, unprofessional when you lose games and do all those things. And what a class act. I mean, like I said, I ran right to him, and we talked and embraced, and like I said, I know I'll see you again in the future. I know as he gets back into the game and learns the new players of today, he'll get it right. And so I definitely think, obviously, with them being one of our closer opponents, there'll be plenty of times that we'll face Coach Arbet. And again, they're bringing on great ownership with bringing on Gruden, Waltrip. They're doing some really cool things down there, and that's always a fun trip. Nashville's just a fun town. I think it's just an awesome town for arena football, and so it's good that things are just continuing to build. And right now, I'm so happy for the league itself. That's the most important thing now. Is now that the championship's over, is that we got to worry about the league. We've got to continue to build this up. We got to have a really good offseason, obviously, from a league level, and so that championship game kind of was the catalyst to start that off. But yeah, like I said, it was, I think there's been a little movie that we had made of the championship and just kind of the moments and
that you had made. That you had made.
Touche.
That's why I'm not executive of the year.
But yes, definitely brought in Baptiste. He does a phenomenal job. He's got phenomenal equipment, and he just does a really good job of catching key moments. And so if you see in the game, there's a moment where we had our every game we have a really good, come together from coaching staff in the locker room, and we just go around the room, and I start and really spectrum of the game, and then we go to Coach Cisse, and we just kind of go around the room and really have what are you doing at your position? Just, again, I'm a psychology guy, so it's just things that we have to do, before the game. And so I talked about just the feeling that I had, that I said, hey, we're going to go down and score. I'm going to kick a drop kick, and then we're going to kick a deuce. That's going to be a 10-point lead. And so, I said that. You can see it on the video. When I talked to Henry, for his exit interview, I played that video, and I said, now, it didn't happen. We score first. We actually came out. We kicked a deuce. They came down, scored. We then scored, and then we kicked the drop kick. And Henry was like, I was so surprised. Like, you usually don't do that at the beginning of a game. And I said, man, was this a feeling I had? I knew that we'd start the game with 10 points. And so it's just so cool when you have those things, when you're just that dialed into the moment and we're all on the same page and those things come to happen. It was a cool moment, and I was glad it was caught on video. So, again, you could easily say that after the fact and nobody will believe it, but we really did talk about that before the game. We were going to start off with a touchdown, a drop kick, and a deuce, and we got all those to start the game. So that was a pretty cool moment. Game did get close. I thought it could get out of hand. I know it's funny because, all the heads of the league were, when they talked to me before the game, were like, I hope this is close. And everybody kept saying that. And like I said, that's not up to me. That's up to the two teams. It's
Right.
It's not like I'm going to, all right, we're up by 14. Hey, let's fumble the ball so they can keep it. I'm not, like I said, obviously I'm not going to do that. So anybody that knows me is again, we're going to fight to the last whistle. And that's just how we
You got
do
a little Jordan to you. You find a reason to be like, I've seen you go, he said, what? I didn't hear, coach. I'm sorry. Oh, he said it. And then it's on. So you're definitely not the guy to keep somebody in a game.
I'm very much like that. I have to have these things that just drive me in certain moments. And so it could be a player run by the box and say something. It could be a coach that, does so, it just takes these little key moments and it really fires me up, and then I get the guys fired up. And so, they did do a good job. Like I said, we come down, we score, we know we're getting the ball in the second half. So we finally start pulling away, and we come out. And we talked about that at halftime. As we are a second half team. We talked about the things that we needed to do and not get complacent. Don't think this game's over. They're going to keep fighting, and this is a good football team. And so came out and we scored. And then from that moment on, that's where the chess match really began. They came out with a really good adjustment up front with us. And, number 92, one of their defensive ends to start the game, they moved him to nose. And I think he's a phenomenal nose guard. Once they moved him to nose guard, they were killing us up front. I mean, we went through two drives where we couldn't really move the ball. I mean, Sam, we ended up with a safety at one point. We, again, we were getting pressured big, and it was, again, it's one of those rare moments where you kind of see Sam kind of speeding up the clock, and it's rare we've had that moment this year. And so you don't want to have that really happen in a championship game. We haven't really had to go through those kind of moments. So we really didn't have anything to say, hey, remember when we played so-and-so and this happened and this is the things we need to do to come out of it. We just didn't have that this year. And so that adversity hit pretty quick. And it was like, all right, come to the box. Let's sit down, get everybody together. All right, this is what's going on. And these are the things that we were going to adjust to it. We just got to do it. If we don't do it, we're in trouble. And that's what we talked about. And we came out in the next drive. Colby did a great job of adjusting to a really good dominant player. That's how the NFL look. And also we were able to finish off the game. But it was fun though. I really like those games where we really got to go back and forth, and you really got to think about the next series or the next play and really be dialed in. And so we were able to do that. We finally came down, obviously, and scored at the end to go up by 10 points on a little, quarterback keeper. We did so much to keep them off balance. Like I said, we did things we'd never done this year. So we really kept them off balance. So it was fun to finally, to have that moment, go through some adversity, battle through it. And our team did a phenomenal job. Isaiah Scott had a phenomenal game. He's another person that I had a really good feeling, and we talked about that before the game, is you really can be the best player on the field tonight. You know what I mean? But you've got to go out and you've got to do it. There's games where you have done that at such a high level. That's kind of game we need from you tonight. He had a phenomenal game, but everybody did. It just everybody. That's what I love about this offensive football team, especially. I spend the most time with them. So at the end of the day, we had an idea, and I know we had in the offseason, who are you bringing back and all that. And everybody, went in uproar about who we were going to bring in. And I just said, just trust the process. You know what I mean? Just trust. I love to recruit. So just trust the process, let it go and just watch. And so coming into camp, we had the idea that we wanted to be stress-free. We wanted to be everybody play for each other, and whoever's open gets the ball. So we weren't going to design plays for one single position. We weren't going to do any of that. We were going to just say blank canvas, and we want everybody to work together. Darian Townsend came in this year as our leader. He leads every drill. He leads all of the huddles. He leads talking through film sessions, all those things. did a phenomenal job of being a leader for the younger guys. Dwayne Brown, what can you say? It's when you can come into a system. We knew he had the tools. You just never know how that things are going to play out. But he came in. He wanted to learn. He was coachable. He took everything that we did and he applied. And that's the one thing about coachability that we talk about behind closed doors is coachability is not me teaching you something and you do a drill or something. It's taking it from drill to film to use in a game. And so the things we were able to do with him, and late in the season, we went and looked back at his film from last year, and we looked at the film this year, and then we looked at every single player on the offense that was here from last year to this year. And we were just night and day different. We were just so much better this year because everyone embraced, you know what? The only way we win this year is together. And to have that come to fruition, I mean, it's just a phenomenal thing. Then you turn over to the defense. I went out this year to make sure we had a number one defense. You can say that. It's easy to say. It's hard to do. And so we really spent a lot of time on the defense. Our offense was pretty set going into the season. There was a couple of things that we changed, but ultimately it was the defense we wanted to change. So, bringing in guys like Ezekiel Rose was huge. He is a phenomenal human being.
Yeah.
And, again, like I said, just us.
But he did start calling me Big Back Levac recently. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Is the comment? All right, then I love it. All right, then it's good.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll get him on one of these shows over the offseason. But
absolutely.
But yeah, bringing in him was an important, like I said, I just have to share some of the good moments that, that you don't really get to share. But, he came in, our biggest thing was our training camp this year. It was a full on war. I don't know how to quantify that into words other than to say we had 35 of the best kids in the country going at it, trying to earn a position. And it was, after about a week, there was players that came to me like, Coach, my body's so beat up, like I can barely move. And I was like, good. That's what we wanted. And I said, if we can do this in the first week, think of what we could do against other teams that aren't going through this right now. And so everybody bought in. We really had no non-buy-in this year. There was no wavering from the culture. There was no wavering from what we wanted to become. And so you take Zeke every day, and I mean every day, not a day off. He wakes up and starts the day with a prayer. And it's a long prayer. It's not a one sentence. It's a 10, 20 sentence prayer. And so we all read it. It's something our players, and funny, in our little group that we talk in, there was like 10 players this morning that says, are we going to continue this all year long? Boy, that means something to me. It's bring a bunch of guys together, bond, and then start every day with a prayer and something deep and meaningful. And this was every day. And then end every practice with a prayer and watch those guys come together. It's been an amazing process. I mean, what we did this year was special. I talked to somebody that came to see us go off on the boat, and I let them read one of Zeke's posts, and they got teary-eyed and just like, wow, you know what I mean? And the public doesn't often get to see these stories, but what a phenomenal group. And so you tie in the rest of the guys, obviously Marcus Smith, bringing in guys, Trey Wortham, a rookie that did huge things at Starter
Mr. Sports Center.
Yeah.
Mr.
Absolutely.
Top 5. Mr. Top 5 play. Trey Wortham.
That was huge.
And by the way, after that, there was a very tall, beautiful blonde following him around. So I just need one top 10. I just need one, Coach.
All right, we'll get
help me out. Thank you. That's all I ask.
But guys, Mike Lee, Trayvon Shorts, Drew Singleton, DJ Walden, Jamal Hickman, like there's just every one of those guys bought into the vision that I had, and they all came in. We helped build a culture. Let Cisse be the catalyst of all that. Use his fiery nature to make these guys tough as nails. And we ultimately had the number one defense. And more than anything, we've been number one every year in offense. Being a number one defense means so much to me because of how much effort that we put in to make sure we got there. And I'm so proud of our young coaches. They did a phenomenal job. Coach Cisse, Coach Hobbs, Coach Brian Lewis, all these guys, they bought in. Even Coach Gabe Young, all those guys bought in. They did what they needed to do. They put up with all the things I'm going to require you to do every week, and they embraced it. And again, it's I tell them, if you go through this process, it's an Ivy League education. I mean, it is the equivalent. You'll get an Ivy League education if you just do all of these things and you embrace it. And they embraced it. They learned a lot. It grew. It becomes infectious, and it's just phenomenal. You know what I mean? It was just really, really cool to watch all of the things that we set in motion early in the offseason come to fruition. And then ultimately, again, we got to win the game in front of the flock. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what do you say? Our flock comes out. We got the best crowd in the league. They come out, rain, sleet, shine. It's hot out here. Here we are.
And they're here.
And they're here. And that's what it's all about. We wanted to do it for you guys, and hey, we did it.
I'm not going to name the player, but there are some guys on their way. One of them just went in the chat. Went, hey, I need an address. I'm seeing a couple Cuginos pop up. I'm like, well, one's in Mass and one's in Albany, New York. Just gonna flip a coin and figure out which one you're going to. I guess I don't know. I sent him the address though. I took care of him, but I didn't. I won't say who it was. I'll tell you later. But the chat's getting a little saucy. After the Big Back Levac thing, Nani has decided that my new nickname is BBL.
Wow.
Yeah. Bob would like a new shirt made. Albany loves BBL. Yeah. Oh, Lenny wants to know, you mentioned everybody. What about your antique coach? I'm obviously talking about mini Godfather, Ray.
I didn't talk about the offensive staff. Obviously, they're with me. Like I said, bringing along Jordan Gooch, obviously from Hudson Valley, with us has been a special thing.
I know what this sounds like, but I'm going to say it. I love Gooch. BBL loves Gooch.
Well, I'm going to get that shirt too, I guess. But no,
he calls me Mr. Levac. It's the most uncomfortable thing in the world.
Our offensive staff did a phenomenal job too. Coach Bowick, Coach Gooch, and Mini Godfather. He's my assistant, and he's a barrel of laughs. I can say that I have laughed a lot hanging out with Minnie. So no, everybody did a phenomenal job. I mean, everybody. It's our interns did a good job. Our game day staff did a great job. Our camera crews, our just everybody. And then like I said, it's nobody really should get left out. Our H2O coordinator, my son, did a phenomenal job.
By the way, I saw the NFL pays those guys like $5,000 a game.
Yeah, don't say that out loud. He's probably watching. I pay him considerably less for those games. So, but he's built up a nice little nest egg in the season. So,
nice.
But it's not $5,000 a game. So,
but they don't usually get to dump Gatorade on the head coach. I think that's good for at least 15, 20K.
I'm still like, when I saw the pictures of how big his smile was, and I'm trying to figure out, like, I know he won't tell me, how were you that happy?
He was. That's the most emotion I've seen that kid have ever.
I'm like, you and Sam, like, huh? Like, you guys were real happy to do that. So
that just shows you how smart Sam is. Sam is a very calculated dude. He's like, well, where might not let me golf during the season next year if I do this by myself? Dario, come here. Come here, buddy. Speaking of Sam, real quick, I 2 rushing touchdowns against a defense that was known for stopping the run. Sam got a little chip on his shoulder, huh? That was awesome to see.
Well, like I said, the great part about this year is, I told him in 22 we used a lot of runs with him as he was growing in the game, and so he is the surprise of him in 22 was just how good of a runner he really is. He is. You would not look at Sam.
He was the dad bod god that year.
If you've seen him at the park,
it was awesome.
With his kids and a dog, you would definitely not see stud rusher.
Yes, yeah, he's gonna ruin a rec league. He's gonna destroy your rec league. But taking over the arena football world.
Our fearless leaders.
Does he even know we're here? He probably doesn't even know we're here.
Right, I don't think we're here. But no, so Sam's a phenomenal rusher, and so we really didn't want to use him that way this year. I know he got banged up a little bit last year, and so I'm very cautious about those type of things. Obviously, especially guys coming off injuries, that we're just going to do things to try to keep you healthy. And so, but we always said, come the playoff time, that if we needed some things, we were going to install them and put them in. And so, something that they weren't ready for, obviously, was for him to run. And so, his first touchdown, obviously, running, quarterback trap was a phenomenal thing, and got him into the end zone. And that's, like I said, that's the special part of Sam is. But he's matured enough that he doesn't need to run. He can sit back and read a defense and throw the ball down the field. And so he did a phenomenal job of just growing in the offense. We put a lot of wrinkles in this year, added a lot of stuff. And Sam did a phenomenal job being a great leader this year, taking the game very serious, being the guy that was always in the moment. He did a phenomenal job. And again, he obviously earned being the league MVP. So special to see him. And like I said, not to be cocky, but we said this at the beginning of the year. I said, I really think you guys can get those two honors. And when we first started, after about game 2, I was like, I think we can get it. And, we don't talk too much about it, but we definitely discussed it. And sure enough, it comes to fruition. So all those things are super fun when you can kind of see some of those things happen. But Dwayne, Sam, Isaiah Scott, Darian Townsend, Markel Wade, Trayvon Shorts, Desmond Maxwell, Hardy, Nicholson, Bird, Zacher, Sean Brown. They all did a phenomenal job. We barely changed anybody, obviously, all season long. And it just goes to show that, the kind of people that we want here, these good character, great athletes, are the right guys. And so we really had a phenomenal year on the offensive side of the ball as well.
Ryan wants to start the hashtag in where we trust.
I like it.
I like it. I came up with a new one. Perfection is for the birds.
Oh, that's unique.
That might be inside the rings.
I like that.
The clock tower said, we're so proud of all of you, even you, Jeff.
We love the clock tower. We
Absolutely.
couldn't do it without them. Like I said, I got to see Monica on the boat ride, and just like I said, we really can't do it without you. Your staff does a phenomenal job. They are so good to our players. I mean, you guys are just family, and hopefully we can continue to be a part of the clock tower, and you be a part of the Firebirds for many years to come. So.
Absolutely. I mean, again, we've got great, we're at Cugino's right now, and Cugino's has provided the post-game meal for both teams because that's part of the deal. That's what you do. So all season long, never a question. Cugino's, the truck pulls up to the back door. They load in the pizzas. We hand them out. And you see, even it's nice to hand something nice to somebody when they just got their doors blown off by the birds and they're leaving. And like, at least the pizza's good, So that was nice. But so we couldn't do it without Clock Tower, Cugino's, and everyone. But here's Coach. We're champions, blessed with the opportunity to be surrounded by genuinely great people. That's our guy. And listen, I want to be very clear. Jordan Gooch is not an equipment manager. He wants to be the next Damon Ware, but he embraced the role. And I would say for the first time ever, I had zero issues with equipment. There wasn't a single time where I had to go like, where's this? What happened there? Because I could just go, hey Gooch, are we good? And we were good. So he did an amazing job.
He's a phenomenal young kid. I tell you, I've watched him now for 2 years, and it's never a moment that I don't think he'll take care of a task and do it to the best of his ability. And that resonates with me. I always tell these guys, you can be talented without the work ethic, and it means nothing. The guys that come through the door with great work ethic, obviously, those are the guys that mean the most. And he's done a great job of showing up every day and putting in the work. So can't be prouder of him either.
Absolutely. People are asking about, will the replay of the game be on Evergreen now? It is supposed to be. I will find out exactly when it'll be up, and we'll post and let you know that as well. So we covered the game. We covered the awards, and I guess what we probably should cover, because what I think is most important, and we've got the loyal flock here with us at Cugino's, but I think the people who are scared that they could lose their team, like it's happened in the Capital Region in the past, the stability of the AF1 was huge. It was, the off season was a little rough, but after that, Jerry Kurz, Jeff Fisher, and everybody in that, Chris McEwen and Gary Compton. I will tell you this again: Mike Korda is the guy who, the second something goes wrong, if you do something wrong, you don't want to look down and see one of two names, Mike Korda or Andy Kelcher, on your phone. If you're like, wow, that didn't go perfect, and you're like, well, we're gonna find out how we could have done it better right now. They reached in and made sure that everything ran well. So the league was as stable as we've ever had, and there's expansion news.
Yeah, like I said, it's just the culmination of the season. Just, had a couple bumps on the road, obviously, early before the season, but stabilized. We finished with all the teams. Everybody did a phenomenal job down the stretch. So that was the first part of just us making our way towards a better future. Owners met before the championship game, had a great meeting, as always. And then announcing a couple new teams. So one coming in the state of Michigan and one in Ohio. We need more teams in the Northeast, obviously, because we just don't have a lot of close opponents. So that was music to my ears. Those are, even in Ohio, those could possibly be a bus trip for us. And there are some times I'd rather take the bus than fly. So having those,
with the way this year went travel wise, definitely rather have a bus.
Yeah, that was some brutal travel this year, but adding
there he is. Ray's here. Coach Ray, everybody. Coach Ray. Where you going, Ray? They don't sell that here.
All right, party's over. Let's go.
By the way, Steve said more. We need regional rivals bus trips. Yeah, and just know that we all want that. The flock wants bus trips, and he said the same thing. That would be great. So we know those two are going to happen. There are reports. There's no definitive details. There could be more teams. So, for me, it stinks that there's a lot less Hawaiian shirts in the league. But man, how bad is he kicking himself right now? Sorry.
Sure.
But Alan Sitterly wants to know, why on earth are they talking about a neutral site for the championship? I can let you know. Basically, that's going to be an ongoing debate forever. Just so we're clear, there will always be people who will push for that. And I can promise you that the only way that that'll ever happen is if there's such a financial boon that we all go, oh, damn, okay. Oh, really? Okay. So we will continue to push for home team host. I know one of the ideas I've heard floated out there is best average attendance would host. So there's going to be talk of change. There's nothing written in stone. So when you hear somebody go neutral site, when you hear somebody go other things, the number one thing you can do is just pack the nest. Just make MVP Arena like the busiest place every week. And I guarantee you, when they see those days of 8, 9, 10,000 people, there's not going to be a single person in the league who goes, we should do this somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So just take it out of their hands.
Absolutely. Like I said, those talks are really every year. They're always ongoing. Somebody's always got an idea. And, again, it's important for all the business partners to have ideas. That's the whole point of getting together and, the meeting of the minds, as I call it. So it's always good to throw ideas around. What are some new ideas we can get more eyes on our game? What's more things we can get more butts in the seats? So at the end of the day, again, you should be in rooms having those kind of conversations. But at the end of the day, nothing is set in stone, and we'll find out as the league meetings go on through the offseason.
But again, we're talking about expansion, and that's what really matters. That means that you guys, and I will tell you this: each and every visiting team, if they send ownership, they send management, they're always like, how do we get this? How do we get this? And I'm like, just get a group of men who go into the community and represent you the way you want them to, and one super fan becomes another super fan becomes another, and don't treat them rudely unless you're me. It's funny. It's all a joke, okay, Steve. But take care of your fans, and your fans will take care of you, and that's something that you guys do for us. And it's the adopt a player program that you guys did this year. I can tell you right now that there's every single one of these guys. Like you said, we 19 of the guys we started the season with, we ended the season with. That's unheard of in arena football. That's unheard of. That's the trainer, that's the coaches, that's the flock. And every single one of these guys is like, I've been given some Gatorade before, but y'all got stock in dude wipes. So I'm going to come back to Albany.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's we want quality. That's what it's all about. Is you got to have quality. Quantity doesn't mean anything without the quality, and it really starts with the right owners. Guys with great business acumen. That's where it starts, and then your number two thing is to find the right coach. Coaches at this level have such a huge impact on the team that you really have to, instead of hiring the local high school hero, you really need to find a guy that's experienced in professional football and understands how to build a roster and put together great schemes. And so, I've heard some rumors of some other really good coaches coming back next year. So I'm real excited to go into this offseason. This is, last year was more going to the unknown. This year we have a direction. We've got great people working hard. We had a great championship game. And so it's going to be real fun watching how all the things kind of play out in the offseason. Couldn't be more proud of just the whole league. Last year I was a little frustrated about a lot of things, obviously coming to the end of the season. This year I am super pleased and super optimistic on what's to come.
That's why he's the coach and the professor at Flock University, live at Cugino's right now. And what is next for Coach Ware? Because I saw Nani go, what are we doing Saturday? And half the guesses were golf. So
I'm definitely gonna go buy some new clubs.
You deserve them. You deserve clubs. Come on now.
So I'm gonna go do that for sure.
But you gotta catch Sam.
But no, I'm sure that's not gonna spill up a bunch of my time. It's obviously time to head back to the college. Training camp starts August the 1st. As much as I'd love to stay in bed like I did on Sunday all day, just not gonna happen. I'm gonna go hold a meeting tomorrow with our offensive staff and get some planning and stuff done, obviously, for the first. Absolutely love helping these young men, obviously, get to the level they can go to Division I schools and things as well. We built something really special going 8-2 last year at Hudson Valley. Obviously, Coach Cisse, Coach Gooch, and I all will be over there again this season. So super excited. It's, it is, there's a lot of similarities between what we do here at the professional level and what you do at a junior college level. And so we're just, we're having fun. We know that we're crazy. Leaving one full-time job and going right to another. Last year, I only had 3 days off in between the seasons. So I was so pleased when they moved the season up a month. I was ecstatic. So I actually have a month, not that I get to take the whole month off, but a lot of meetings and getting stuff together and organizing. But I do get a little bit of breathing time. Be able to take a little trip next week. Obviously, my birthday's coming up in a little over a week. So, like I said, we'll take a little trip for that and ultimately do that. And then it's time for HBCC. So come on out and support us there as well. 3 of the coaches that coach your Firebirds will also be at HBCC. And we're building something really special there. We've got some really good athletes coming there this year. So we're super excited. And how cool, we talked about that as a staff, how cool would it be to win a championship with the Firebirds and turn around and win a championship the same year at the college? So
yeah, absolutely.
Lots to play for.
I have seen people say, please make your the Hudson Valley schedule public because they want to come support the Vikings as well. But hey, Coach, I don't know if you noticed, I brought your friend.
Thank you.
Your friend is here. The crown itself, the AF1 trophy.
Such a beautiful sight.
So,
a lot of hard work, top to bottom organization from the owners to down to the ball boys and water boys. Man, we sure did a lot this year, and I couldn't be prouder. I've still not totally grasped the whole thing, but truly, we thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't thank you guys enough for showing up every week, being a part of this thing. This win is not just for the team, it's for you guys. And glad you were there to participate. So it's huge.
I saw this comment and it gives me a chance to do something I want to do. Sue, I had never been to an arena football game until my son started working with you. All I know is get someone who has never been to a game and they will be addicted as I have become. We can grow the flock. That's Susan Plaisance. That is our trainer's mom. And our trainer, Michael Plaisance, is amazing. He's one of the reasons that we had 19 guys. Look at that cake from Lou and Cugino's.
I like it.
But Michael Plaisance, man, he's a guy that we had him in the past, and we were able to bring him back last year. And then this year, it's just he does a phenomenal job. He does a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal. He's been another hugely important part of the team. Like I said, we had him in 22 and won a championship. Brought him back last year, did a phenomenal job. Obviously, we're hugely proud of just everything that he's done. Like I said, it's just it takes so many people to win this thing. It really does. It's just so many parts to play. But health is a huge thing. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out how we're going to keep these guys healthy. It's a quick game. It's brutal inside the walls, and it's a sprint. And so it's not a lot of downtime. So once you start training camp, these bodies get beat up, and they stay beat up to the very end. And so you have to have these plans. You have to have a great trainer. You have to have great plans. You have to have great, ways of adjusting practice. We do a lot of really cool things to keep these guys healthy. And it's one thing that I've heard from a lot of our players. They're super excited about the way that we do things here. And that's what contributed to all this success. And so, but as Ms. Plaisance said, it's if you bring somebody to a game that hasn't been there, and I say this to everybody, and literally everybody that came to a game that I talked to in the community, that came to a game, kept coming. And so I think that's just, what we need to do is, like they say about raising a child, it takes a village. It's going to take a village for us to keep this thing here forever. So we got to all, do our part. We got to talk to people that have never been to games. I talked to a person today and it was just like, you've never been to a game? You like football? Man, you'll love it. We got to find more people to come to the game. We love our flock, but flock's got to grow. It's an expensive business. So we got to get more people, more butts in the seats. We got to get more eyes on the product, and it's just going to grow. And like I said, we got no, there's nothing in us that wants to not be around. We're going to be here for many years to come. And so, like I said, it's going to take all of us to keep this thing going. And like I said, talk to your friends, talk to your coworkers, talk to the people that talk to your family members. Get them to a game. They're not going to be mad at you for bringing them to a game. They're going to love you. They're going to be like, this is the funnest thing I've been to in a long time. And that's what we need. So we just got to get a few more butts in the seats. And other than that, like I said, what a heck of a year. Just fun, exciting. Like I said, I really haven't really processed it all together yet. But as these next days come through, I've been so exhausted. And then this phone just keeps ringing and people need something. It's like, I just need take a deep breath for a couple days. That's why I gotta take this trip just to get out of here for a second, where I could just lay on a beach or do something and just turn this phone off for a couple days. But once I recharge the battery a little bit more, I'm sure all this is going to hit me like a ton of bricks. And but I'm already so appreciative. Like I said, I'm just so proud of everything that we've done this year. So thank you to all you guys, and thank you to everybody that's in this organization. You guys did tremendous.
Thanks. All right, let's do a real quick questions from the flock. It's Flock University live at Cugino's. Mary wants to know how the boat trip, the boat celebration was. We were waving, and they actually heard me yell. Thanks to everyone. I'm very shy. I can't thank Dutch Apple Cruise Line enough. This is the third one you and I have won together. It's the first time we've been able to do an organized celebration, and it was because Anthony and the crew at Dutch Apple called up and went, "Get on the boat, let's go." Screw you, Ray, because you shouldn't have been allowed on it because you made so much fun of me for not going on cruises. I went on one, I planned one, and you had a blast. So you can apologize. But no,
that was fun.
That was
just a way to kind of spend your last organized activity with the guys before they go home and go back to their normal lives. And it was just fun. Like it was peaceful. It was, had food and drinks and cigars, and it was just a fun time, kind of the last hurrah before everybody kind of breaks up. And but it was really fun though. Dutch Apple did a phenomenal job. That was really fun. It was a couple-hour cruise, and yeah, like I said, it almost ended so quick. We're back. I could have did that another couple hours, but really fun, and a lot of really good people aboard, and just kind of embracing the moment. So it was really fun.
And of course, I catered it through Cugino's, so that's why the pizza and the wings were so dang good. There you go. Alan Sitterly's got a question for you. How hard is it to flip the switch and go to outdoor football from arena?
For me, not at all. I've done it for so long, and right around 30 years on this now. So It's not hard to flip the switch. I talk a lot about outdoor football through the season because there's guys that want to move up. So we dedicate, some of our meeting time and some of our, private meetings to outdoor football. So we can, because that's a hard part about leaving this game is our game is so small. And, you get, my playbook at this level is going to be 100 pages. You're going to go back to the outdoor and get a 600-page playbook. And so the hard thing is to make sure that you're steadily thinking about these things. You can't just let all that knowledge go. And so we try to keep guys engaged in outdoor football as well. Those guys that want to move up, we actually talk a lot about it. But so no, it's not hard at all. I've worked on stuff all year. Like I said, it doesn't take much. I just need to take a deep breath and take a couple days off. That's all I need. After that, I'm full board and excited to get ready for training camp again.
Tim Capper said Albany is the city of arena football championships. And he is, in my mind, he's the number one guy when it comes to arena football. So Nani has given 2 pieces of advice. The first was, I want cake.
All right.
And the second was,
it's a go box.
LMAO, turn off the phone.
Is she saying that I won't? I will try.
We'll do a couple quick ones, and then it's time to cut this cake. Let me see here. Steve wants to know, how many of our guys do you think you're going to lose to the UFL, CFL?
I won't say publicly how many guys I think that are ready. But we have a plan in place over the next month of which guys that we think are ready. That's something that a lot of people don't understand. If you push, it's like anything else. If I built a car and it's not ready and I put it out into production and put it in front of a bunch of people and it's not ready, nobody's ever going to buy it again. And so same goes for football. There's guys that are ready and those guys will push. There's guys that are close and there's guys that aren't ready. And so I tell them all the time, if you rush the process, if I get your films in front of people and they don't like it, they'll probably never look at them again because your name goes in the database. So that's the hard part, is to convince. It's the same process when they come out of college. They all think they're going to the NFL. It usually takes about a year for them to realize the NFL is for that tiny drop of people. Then they start calling me back, and then it goes from there. And so it's a tough process. It's a brutal business. There's a lot that goes into it. But the guys that we do have that'll move up, we have a plan in place. We'll work on that plan for about the next 30 days. And but I do think there's probably a couple kids that, just like every year, there's a couple kids that'll get that chance.
For the 16 to 20 comments, Coach will not forget his newspapers. Calm down. Guys, taking over the whole damn chat. One more, and then we're out of here because there's cake to cut. And this is from Courtney. Do you have a regimen that you give to the players for the off season, or are they left to their own devices?
Yeah, we obviously early we encourage them to get coaches in their local community. Obviously, we can work with them from afar, but that's not, if I just throw you something through an email, it's probably not as successful. Same thing, with coaching, I can't really coach you from a Zoom call. So we give them stuff to do, but ultimately we hope that each individual, especially the younger guys, go and work with a professional in their community. We'll then talk to those people in their community and make sure they're working on the things that we want them to work on. But we always have that plan for the offseason, especially if we know that there are guys that are coming back. It's easy to get those things in motion and make sure they're working on the right things coming into camp for next year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to the flock for being here. Appreciate you guys. You're amazing. It's hot as heck out here, and you're here. I was promised by the weatherman / pizza guy, Lou from Cugino's, that it was going to be beautiful out. It's close. I'm not gonna, it's a little warm, a little too hot for beautiful, but whatever. We'll take it. By the way, if you come to Cugino's and you buy enough food, he'll put on football pants for you, and you will love the show. It is something special.
PG-13.
He is the head coach, the GM, the undefeated, history-making, just the man, Damon Ware. Everybody.
Great season.
I'm Big Back Levesque.
BBL Jeff.
Nani. Bye, guys. Good show. #BBL. All right. We
Wow.
as soon as there's new news, we'll do another edition of Flock University. But until then, you cannot end the show without those two simple words. 1, 2, 3.
Flock
you.